On now to the U.S. state of Wisconsin, which has seen a huge surge in its trade with China. Exports to China grew nearly 700% between the year 2000 and 2013. Mike Walter has sat down with the state's governor, Scott Walker, and he asked him to share his thoughts about this astonishing growth.
In 2000, China was the 13th largest export partner with not only the United States, but specifically with the state of Wisconsin. We're now number 3 when you look at China in relation to Wisconsin. And it went from 177 million to over 1.3, almost 1.4 billion. You look at medical technology, GE Healthcare is based, 3 of their international business units are in Wisconsin, and that's a tremendous market. In fact, a few years back, even before I was governor, we helped train people in the emergency medical system in Shanghai before the World Expo. Clean water technology, that's a growing need throughout the world, but particularly in China. We have about 130 different clean water technology companies in southeastern Wisconsin alone, and about half of the top dozen companies in the world are based in Wisconsin. So for us, there's a perfect connection.
What about the vitality of this, given the economic downturn? If that wasn't in place, how do you see Wisconsin?
Oh, I think it would have been bad both for Wisconsin, it would have been bad for China, but because of that relationship, and it even goes back culturally. You know, the University of Wisconsin, all the way back almost 100 years, back to 1924, had the first graduate PhD degree in Chinese literature. There's a strong cultural bond, there's a good tradition there, and it's one where that trust has been built, not just over the last few years, but over time.
What about relationships? How key is that in keeping this and fueling this forward?
Well, it is. We've got 18 premier developing companies out of Wisconsin that we think are of interest to investors from China, and we want to build off that. We want to show not only our interest here, but then next week literally give a chance to show off some of our technology, which we think is really quite interesting on a global basis, and one of which folks who've got investment capital from China would be interested in.
You're at this platform now. How do you grow this thing? Which direction do you see it going in?
Well, again, I think it's a combination. It's a good match. For us, it's 2 things. It's that matchmaking and not just throwing anything out, but looking in areas where we have both growth potential in our companies in Wisconsin, but also where there's great need in China.
What does success look like to you? I mean, this is the beginning of this whole process, the end of the week. They come to Wisconsin, they see Wisconsin, they head back. How do you view success?
Well, for us, it's making those relationships, knowing they're not going to happen just at one meeting or 1 week time, but making those investments, inspiring that interest, and really looking at making a commitment towards saying, here's an area, not just a specific business, but here's a cluster of the types of industries we would like to invest in, the things that we think are good for return on investment, as well as being good, particularly for the impact they could have both on Wisconsin and on China. And I think that's where the key is. It's not just throwing out anything, it's being very strategic in the type of investments we target for development here, and then working through it.